Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Randana Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Randana Yashoda Nandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Madhava Radha, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Madhava Radha, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Vishupad Paramahamsa Tri Rajgacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Sirabai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi BT Founder Sharia's Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Hari Nama Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jainitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Dakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Scha Hai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayashabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhaviti Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamhitam Uttamasloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pagum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning class, especially our neighbors next door. You're staying there already, huh? Yeah. Since how long?
We just moved here 4 months.
4 months, huh? Yeah. Some construction is going on? We're hearing noise. I've been trying to, yeah. How many homes are coming up?
Slowly.
No, how many people are constructing now? 1, 2, 3?
Tall building is
Huh?
constructed there. I think 5 story. That's still going on. And nearby, right now, only we are doing something.
So, but other people are constructing?
Not start yet. I think waiting for the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So some people,
Okay.
got the next year.
Yeah, everything takes a little time. So we are continuing to read from the first canto, chapter 3, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. And, yes, today we're reading text number 35. 35, yeah. We did 34 yesterday. Evam Janmani Karmani Hi Akartur Ajanasya Cha Varnayanti Sma Kabayo Veda Guyani Rit Patehe Evam Janmani Karmani Yakartur Ajanasya Cha Varnayanti Sma Kabayo Veda Guhani Rit Patehe Evam Janmani Karmani Yakartur Ajanasya Cha Varnayanti Sma Kabayo Veda Guhyani Rit Patehe Evam Janmani Karmani Yakartur Ajanasya Cha Varnayanti Sma Kabayo Veda Guhyani Rit Patehe evam janmani karmani yakartu rajanasya cha varnayanti sva kavayo veda guhyanti ritpatehe. Evam janmani karmani yakartu rajanasya cha varnayanti sma kavayo veda guhyani hritpatehe. Evam janmani karmani yakartur arjanasya cha varnayanti sma kavayo veda guhyanti ritpatehe. Evam janmani karmani yakartur arjanasya cha varnanti sma kavayo veda guhyani ritpatehe. Evam, thus, janmani, birth, karmani, activities, he, certainly, akartuhu, of the inactive, ajanasya, of the unborn, cha, and varnayanti, describe, sma, in the past, kavayaha, the learned, veda guhyani, undiscoverable by the Vedas, rit patehe, of the Lord of the heart. Yes. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thus, learned men describe the births and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart. Kind of repeat after me. Thus, learned men describe the births and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart. Purport. Both the Lord and the living entities are essentially all spiritual. Therefore, both of them are eternal, and neither of them has birth and death. The difference is that the so-called births and disappearance of the Lord are unlike those of the living beings. The living beings who take birth and then again accept death are bound by the laws of material nature. But the so-called appearance and disappearance of the Lord are not actions of material nature, but are demonstrations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are described by the great sages for the purpose of self-realization. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord that his so-called birth in the material world and his activities are all transcendental. And simply by meditation on such activities, one can attain realization of Brahman and thus become liberated from material bondage. In the Shruti, it is said that the birthless appears to take birth. The Supreme has nothing to do, but because he is omnipotent, everything is performed by him naturally, as if done automatically. As a matter of fact, the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his different activities are all confidential, even to the Vedic literatures. Yet they are displayed by the Lord to bestow mercy upon the conditioned souls. We should always take advantage of the narrations of the activities of the Lord, which are meditations on Brahman in the most convenient and palatable form. Translation again. Thus, learned men describe the birth and activities of the unknown and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart. So very interesting how in the text and also in the purport it mentions how those who are learned in transcendental knowledge, they can simultaneously understand the births and activities of the Lord who is unborn and inactive. It's like contradictory. The born seemingly takes birth, and the inactive seemingly performs pastimes. Krishna performs pastimes. He appears, takes birth, but actually he is never born because he is eternal, and he does not perform ordinary activities. In the purport, Prabhupada mentions all of the Lord's activities are confidential. So therefore, in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma explains how it is not possible for ordinary people, even for transcendentalists, simply by reading the Vedas to really understand the Lord. Vedeshu dulabam adulabam atma bhaktau govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. Vedeshu dulabam, Vedic knowledge, Vedic literatures, dulabam, very difficult to understand. Even after many years, even after many lifetimes, most people don't understand the conclusion, the essence, actually, of Vedic knowledge. And why? Because it is intentionally, it is kept secret. The Vedic literatures contain so many secrets, so much of confidential knowledge, which is kept away actually from people who are not qualified. Yeah. there is a prerequisite to actually understand and know about Vedic knowledge in its most profound nature. And of course, that is described in the Shastra also, that to receive not only spiritual knowledge, but also to receive material knowledge, the Vedic system is that uh, both the student and the teacher must be highly qualified, isn't it? We know, like in Vedic culture, those who give knowledge, those who are meant to transmit knowledge, means the Vedic teachers, they're called Brahmanas, right? So Brahmanas in Vedic culture, Brahmanas uh, who are meant to instruct, but they will not instruct to anyone. They uh, they will be very selective, which is something very different from modern education. Modern education, if you pay your fees, you can become a student. And the teacher in modern day education has to accept all students who come. But in Vedic culture is very different. First of all, there's no fee to pay. Vedic culture, students don't pay any fees, right? And also the teachers don't get any salary. So it makes it very less interesting for modern day people, which is, you know, teachers go on strike in different countries to get more money. But actually, this is the defect, part of the major defect of modern way of doing things. Knowledge is not a commodity to be sold. Therefore, if we understand this, we will understand that knowledge is not, what is it? It means that knowledge is not actually meant for everyone. We in modern day society we say knowledge, or education rather. Education is a right, isn't it? We say in the United Nations, for example, they have so many guidelines, so that the propaganda is that education is everyone's right, isn't it? Education is everyone's right. Even we ourselves as devotees, that we understand like this. But Vedic culture is teaching us something a little different. Education or knowledge is not everyone's right, because knowledge is a privilege. It's a privilege. Just like, for example, to live in a temple, at least to live in a Hare Krishna temple, it's not everyone's right. One has to qualify to live in the temple. One has to agree to follow the 4 basic rules and regulations. One has to agree to rise up and attend Mangalarti. One has agreed to follow so many things. So the same thing with bhakti. Devotional service also is, of course, it is the birthright of everyone. Everyone has, but one will only understand about bhakti by accepting to follow different guidelines. So in a similar way, not everyone, actually very few people can actually understand Krishna. Um, because his janma and karma, his birth, his appearance, and activities, they are transcendental. So unless one develops transcendental vision or transcendental understanding, one cannot accept. And that is actually preliminary in the Vedic culture. Before receiving knowledge, before someone receives knowledge from the guru or the spiritual master, the teacher, one must demonstrate, one must actually become qualified. Otherwise, what happens is that knowledge is like a weapon, just like a knife. If you give a knife in the hands of a wrong person, he might misuse it. Usually we don't give knife to small children. You know, they will think it's a toy and then they will get, So, in the same way that we don't give um, weapons to unqualified persons, also knowledge is meant to be given to some basic knowledge can be given pretty well to everyone, just like we tell everyone, chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam, be happy. But certain aspects of the Vedic literatures are meant to be, just like Prabhupada explains, we don't speak about Krishna's activities. They are Krishna's activities, confidential pastimes of Krishna that are in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam are only meant to be read because they can only be understood when we have sufficiently developed a certain level of purification. That is why Srila Prabhupada also explains how in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya would very, very rarely speak about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. It is explained that he had only two very close associates, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, right? We find this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Lord Chaitanya was in Jagannath Puri in the last, actually, Lord Chaitanya stayed in Jagannath Puri how many years? Who knows? How many years did Lord Chaitanya reside in Jagannath Puri? Yes, 18 years. From the age of, from what age to what age?
30 to 48.
Very good. You've been reading Chaitanya. From the age of 30 to 48. And it is described that the last 12 years, that means from the age of 36 to 48, the last 12 years, that makes up the subject matter of what is called the Antya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya was totally in his own, you could say, bhava. Therefore, Vrindavan is known as Bhava Vrindavan. Bhava Vrindavan. And practically speaking, the only persons who interacted with him were Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. Because especially those two personalities, they could understand because they were also very elevated personalities. And huh?
They are incarnation of Lalita Vishakha.
Yeah. So we, as followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our line, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, is very unique in that our our Goswamis, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, on the request actually of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they especially extracted, isn't it, from the Vedic literatures, all subject matters in relation to, we could say, the most confidential aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our Goswamis have written very extensively describing the pastimes of Krishna and the nature especially of bhakti or devotional service. Something that was never done actually before, isn't it? That's why the description is there. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorat Vise Namaha. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the most munificent incarnation who is disclosing, revealing, giving us something that was never given before. And those subject matters are the subject matters that we find especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other similar literatures. So in order to understand and to appreciate these subject matters, these very elevated subject matters, we have to follow the recommended process, which is especially based on Sravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting on subject matters related to especially the Vedic literatures. Yeah. And only then we can come to at least begin to understand the what initially may seem contradictory, that the Lord simultaneously does not take birth and does not do anything, but at the same time he appears and performs pastimes in the material world, which are meant to actually attract the attention of, it can only attract the attention of those who are purified in consciousness. Yes. And yeah, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions how simply by meditation on such activities can one can attain realization of Brahman and thus become liberated from material bondage. So, any thoughts or questions on this? They're practicing how to paint or how to draw. They are practicing how to draw. What are they? What are they doing?
For lecture, we have to bring something to engage them.
Huh?
For lecture, we have to bring something to engage them.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, activity book.
Yes, activity book. Yes. Mm. Kiran is not here to ask questions.
Sanatan Gopal Prabhu is asking that there are two sides. Like first, we are giving the knowledge very cheap. Like there are two sides. One is we are giving the knowledge like free to
Okay.
everyone. Second, it's we are taking very high cost for knowledge. But how to do in a correct way now?
Well, in modern day society, knowledge is sold.
Knowledge is sold.
Yeah. If you want to go to university, you have to. There's a tuition fee, so knowledge is sold. Just like one somebody was telling me how um, if somebody from India wants their son or daughter, and that's ongoing actually, to study in foreign country, actually the best knowledge is in India, but people are ready to pay lakhs and lakhs of rupees to study abroad, right? So one devotee was telling me that he had to pay something like 40 lakhs to get his son admitted in some university in Canada. So this is not the modern system. I mean, this is not the Vedic system. It is the modern system where students have to pay fees um, because all teachers and professors are salaried, which is totally different in the Vedic culture. So we have a little problem, maybe a big problem, because within our society we also have individuals who are charging money. Which is not in line with Vedic system. And therefore, we could say that we are in a transitional period. That's one aspect that we don't. The Vedic culture is not established. Because in the Vedic culture, people are trained. They know that we need to support brahmanas. But when that culture is not there, then those who are the few, not many, the few who are brahmanas, how they will live. Because the Vedic system of, let's say, supporting in the context of education is dakshin. So in our Varnashram college, as we have been advertising, we are not charging, but we are introducing the concept of dakshina. And people should understand also, because that is explained both in the Bhagavad Gita and other shastras, that it is actually mandatory to give dakshina. It's not that dakshina is okay, I may give or may not give. It's just like performing jagya. If we invite some purohit, as we normally do, some priest to perform jagya, and if we don't offer him dakshina, our jagya is useless. You won't get the, yeah. Same thing when we have, just like Prabhupada, whenever he introduced this Vedic system, whenever we have some Hare Krishna program, there are two things that are mandatory. Whenever we have a program, there should be the chanting of the holy name, chanting Hare Krishna. And what's the second? There should be, prasadam should be there at the end of the program. Yeah. So that's also explained in the Bhagavad Gita, that, mantras must be there. You cannot perform Vedic ceremony without mantra. So that is there, for example, also in the when we perform the pinda, the Shraddha ceremony. In the Shraddha, Vaishnavas also are meant to perform Shraddha, for the departed souls. Sometimes devotees think that, no, we're devotees, we don't have to. But we have guidelines given. We don't follow the Smarta system, but we have Vaishnava system of performing all of these different activities. So in the Shraddha ceremony, to honor some departed soul, we offer prasadam. We offer prasadam to the departed soul. We first offer food to the Lord, that becomes prasadam, and that prasadam we offer to the departed soul. And also, main activity, most important activity is the chanting of the holy name. So, in the context of knowledge, distribution of knowledge, we as devotees have to introduce this system of dakshina. We have to train our householders to on the need for supporting those who are actually doing Brahminical activities. Actual Brahmanas should not be having a paid job and getting salary at the end of the month. That is not, Otherwise, if all of our Brahmanas are engaged in that way, then they cannot perform their Brahminical activities. Primary activity for Brahmana is to teach without salary. And to be a Brahmana means one who will be totally depending on Krishna, and his material needs will be minimized because he will have understood these basic principles. So it is, yeah, it's a subject matter that probably needs more discussion because within our society or amongst our devotees, we see sometimes people giving and asking money, like salary type. That should not be. Now, in Vedic culture, knowledge is not a commodity to be sold. Even food is not a commodity to be sold. Food, even land, even cows. Vedic culture, people don't, cows are gifted. Kings who are having land and who have cows, who are opulent, they will donate to brahmanas, especially cows, land. So Vedic culture, also food. Of course, one may say, well, we're selling food in our Hare Krishna Govinda restaurant. Because of the modern setup, uh, uh, we're also selling our books. That is um, that is to actually engage people in in in, in service. Uh, but actual knowledge, we don't sell knowledge. When we go and give Bhagavatam class somewhere, we don't say that, my fee is after 1 hour you have to give me so much money. So this this can only be understood and this can only be uh, practiced when we have a more clear understanding of what the Vedic culture is, and when we develop communities where different people will take up various duties and responsibilities according to the system of varnasrama. Mm-hmm.
Очень много вопросов. A lot of questions.
Huh?
A lot of questions.
Ну,
So,
один
one
интересный.
interesting.
Что же делал Браман с коровами? То есть, я так, представлялся немного. Если ему, например, подарили 100 коров, как он сможет со всеми с ними ухаживать? Он должен понять брахманистские обязанности, и все остальное.
So what in Vedic culture, what did Brahmanas with cows? For example, king gifted 100 cows for Brahmana, and what he will do with that cows? He have to do his occupation like yagyas, etc.
You see, brahmanas are not alone. You know,
Браман не один.
no, what I'm saying is that, like in the Vedic culture, those who are not brahmanas, those who are not kshatriyas, and those who are not vaishyas, they will be assisting. They will be assisting, helping. Yeah. So a brahmana who has land and cows, he'll spend a small amount of time, but he'll have other people assisting him in those activities. Brahmana activity, a primary activity of a brahmana, most brahmanas will be to teach or to perform yagyas or to preach. Their main activity will not be agriculture. Sometimes, as explained in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, in case of emergency, and of course, in many ways, we are living in modern times, we are living in emergency times, and therefore, maybe that can be understood that some of the brahmanas are, as a matter of fact, that's the situation. Majority of those who are brahmanas, for example, within our ISKCON society, they cannot just live so easily, and therefore situation is somewhat mixed, I guess. But basically, we should know what is meant to be the standard. Just like the standard in terms of Vedic economy is connected with land and cows. But what percentage of our devotees are actually following this Vedic economy, Vedic standard? Practically nobody. So at least we need to understand, we need to know what is the standard, and we should make steps, and we should endeavor to come close to that standard. Otherwise, we'll continue our deviation. Yeah. And Vedic standards are just like the standard means they are meant to be unchanging, but sometimes there is crisis, and then one has to adjust to the best of one's ability. Kala Deshapatra, actually a very important principle, which yes, which is especially important in modern day society. So I think we need to close for now. Yes. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande. Yes.